Yeah, I think the Stoneman Douglas students who survived the massacre last month via Nicholas Cruz, who are now activists and are speaking up and are speaking about and are speaking against gun violence. I think they mean well. I think they mean well. Um, and they're very young. Obviously, they're teenagers. So I think they mean well. They just need to understand the severity of what they're dealing with when you are speaking about you want to use white privilege to help end and to help um, further cover gun violence in quote unquote black communities or, communities that are populated by people classified as black or African American. When you use the term white privilege to help out, white privilege in a system of racism, white supremacy is a negative connotation. That's what you have to understand. White privilege is something that is the reason why Stoneman Douglas is in an affluent community. Parkland, Florida. Parkland, Florida is polar opposite of a Opelika. It's a polar opposite of a Carroll City. It's a polar opposite of, any impoverished, economically deprived area that is populated with people classified as black or African American. Okay? White privilege is the reason why you're in a position right now to help, right? To help out people who are victims of gun violence in quote unquote black communities. All right. White privilege needs to be eradicated. That's should be the main focus. Instead of, I understand like you guys are young. Once again, you guys are young. White privilege, if you look at the history of the United States, okay, you look at that. White privilege is the reason why the United States of today, it's how it's operating as it is. When a group of people classified as white have been able to dominate, subjugate, and mistreat another group of people classified as black or African American for over 500 years, that is the keystone reason of why we're in an inferior position today. And you have your power, your white privilege, to help out those people, those group of people who are inferior. And we're still inferior even by law. All right, there's laws on the books that still consider us 3/5 of a person. Just look it up yourself. So, like I said, white privilege needs to be eradicated. And I understand, you guys mean well, and I understand that you brought up, Black Lives Matter, and you did a comparison as to why the movement of Black Lives Matter and, gun violence and shootings in areas populated by black people aren't getting the same media coverage or attention as a Parkland shooting, right? Black Lives Matter. The reason why Black Lives Matter was created was because of white privilege. George Soros is the guy who financed and started Black Lives Matter. All right? You have to understand the history of how this country operates. The civil rights era, during the Jim Crow era, and that kind of thing. White privilege was started because of that as well. The Civil Rights Act. Right? So, again, when the power structure is owned and controlled by the dominant white society, and they own and control all 9 areas of activity: economics, education, entertainment, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. That in itself is a huge problem that needs to be eradicated. Point blank and simple. So again, family, like, with this article here that you see, Parkland survivors call out media for ignoring gun violence in black communities. And it says, quote, "We have to use our white privilege to help elevate those affected by gun violence," one survivor said. Again, white privilege is the problem. That needs to be replaced and eradicated. This is a system that we live in that's a system of injustice that needs to be replaced with a system of justice. And white privilege is the system that is the norm. It's accepted. And again, it needs to be eradicated. All right, family. So that's my quick thoughts on this article. I'll have the link in the description so you can check it out yourself. But like I said, I think these students, they mean well, and they just need to understand the full context of using the term white privilege, because white privilege in itself is a negative connotation and it needs to be eradicated. All right. And it's far beyond inequality. It's about, again, a group of people dominating another group of people based off color, and the fact that this group of people who are classified as white, they're leading the charge and making sure that their core values have a over 200-year head start in terms of family wealth, right? It'll take, the last article referenced that it'll take well over 100 years for a black family to amass the wealth that a white family has. And that's just the economical standpoint of things. All right. So again, let's focus on the white privilege thing. White privilege needs to be eradicated. It needs to be replaced. It's just that simple. All right. And understanding how guns and gun violence and things of that nature are happening in communities that are populated by blacks. That the reason why these communities that are populated by blacks are economically deprived. You have to ask yourself why. Why is this happening? You have to ask yourself why there is more violence. There's less jobs. There's less resources in communities that are populated by black. You have to ask yourself why this is happening. All right. And once you understand why, then you'll understand the root foundation of this issue that you're talking about. All right. So anyway, those are my quick thoughts on that, family. Leave your comments down below about this story. Parkland survivors want to use white privilege to help out gun violence in quote unquote black communities. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section, family. Until next time, Chauncey, aka the Black Separatist, signing out. Peace.